طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So again we'll talk about the motivation for variable length subnet mask. So during the network planning, if we have a network like this, multiple routers, and each router is connected to a LAN, and there is like WAN connection between them. This is the exact scenario that I explained in the video. So the problem here is you may have potential growth in any of these LANs because you can increase and grow the number of hosts. The problem is, and this is an extreme example, the problem is in the WAN connection. The WAN connection, you have only 2 addresses required, and there is no potential for growth. Okay, there is no actual potential for growth. So if we subdivide this network into subnets using, let's say, /27, because we have 7 subnets here. We have 7 subnets. You have 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you have 7 subnets here, and you need 3 bits. So if we were to imagine that we have like a circular cake that we want to use to represent the range of IP addresses, then using the concept of flat subnetting, so you have to divide your network into an equally sized parts, right? So in that case, you will assign each of these parts to the individual subnets, and you will end up with only one subnet that is not used, okay? Which you can allocate for future growth. If you have like more labs and more buildings and stuff, you can use this subnet for it. But all the other 7 subnets are already allocated. But the problem here is that the subnets that are allocated to the WAN connection is not utilized. Is like you have only 2 addresses and the rest is not utilized. Okay? So variable length subnet mask allows you to divide your network into subnets on multiple levels. On multiple levels. If you divide as equal parts, then you have one subnet mask, fixed subnet mask for all the networks, which is in that case /27, right? Variable length subnet mask allows you to take one of these parts, let's say this part, okay, and subdivide it even further. Instead of /27, you divide it into /28. In which case you can subdivide, or /29, let's say, okay. In this case, you can subdivide this part into 4 parts, okay, and allocate these parts to the individual WANs, and in that case you will end up with not just one subnet for future growth. You can have 3 other subnets for future growth in addition to one subnet from the small parts here. So in that case you will end up with more subnets that can be allocated for future growth. In other words, variable length subnet mask gives you the flexibility to have multiple different subnet masks for your network. So some of the networks, like these ones, will be /27, and some other parts of the network, like these WAN connections, they will be /29 or /30 even, if you want, okay? Which is /30 is typical for WAN connections because you only need 2 addresses, okay? So in that case, you will have different subnet masks for different parts of the network. So the question is that possible? Yes, it's possible, because if you remember when we looked at the routing table of the router, we had some lines with subnet mask which is /30 and subnet mask which is /23 or /27 and so on. And the rule that we use in that case is that we have to find the match with the longest subnet mask, right? So in that case, you are allowed to have variable subnet mask length, and VLSM allows you to do that, okay? So in that case, you have more flexibility and more granularity in allocating ranges of IP addresses, and you will end up with more ranges of IP addresses that are not used and they are available, and you can use it for future growth. Okay, so that's the only thing that VLSM adds to the picture. So this activity here talks about the fact that from the previous example, if you remember, we had. I don't want to. This is the previous one that we have done before, right? So the second range of IP address for the second subnet, we want to further subdivide it into two subnets using VLSM. So it's the exact same thing that we've been doing before, except that for VLSM, remember that here, then the new network is /27, and we want to subdivide it into, it's not /24. Okay, so we want to take a network which is /27 and subdivide it into two subnets. Okay, and the second subnet, if you remember, the address of the subnet was 192.168.5. If we have 3 bits allocated for subnets, and then you have 001, and then all zeros, which is a 32. So this is the network, and here we have 32, which means that the last address was actually 63. So we want to take this range and subdivide it into 2. That's all. Okay. So we want to do this as the next exercise here. All right. So it's very easy.
Doctor, I don't understand the two parts you just explained. The one where you get the prefix, and the other one, and you got 32, and then you know that it is 64. So we took half of it, which is 32. I did not get it.
The 30. Well, as we said, the second subnet, the second subnetwork, it starts from 192.168.5.32, right? Why 32? Why 32? Why 32?
This is the second one.
This is the second one, not the first one. Why? Because the first one, we have the subnet part is the first 3 bits, so it ranges from 000, right? And then these 5 bits for the host.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
How can you represent 32 with 3 bits? You can.
Not. لا, we represent 30 hosts plus 2 addresses for broadcast and network address using these 5 bits.
Okay.
Using the 5 bits, right?
So
and these 3 bits are for the subnet part.
Okay.
So if we set it to all 0, this will give us the first subnet.
Okay.
If we set it to 100,
this is
the second subnet. This is what we want, right? This is the second subnet. So the second subnet is to set it to 001 and then 5 zeros.
Okay, so this is the beginning.
This is the beginning, or this is the subnetwork address. Yeah?
This is equal to 32.
This is equal to 32.
Okay.
بالضبط كده. This is a
001 and
32.
this one is the last one.
بالضبط اللي هي البرودكاست ادرس. اللي هي in that case هتبقى 63 not 64. بالضبط اللي هي 001 and then 11111. This is a 63. Right? So we want to take this range will give you 32 different addresses. So we want to take this part and subdivide it into 2 parts. Best. So if we want to calculate the subnetwork address of the first network and then the subnetwork address of the second network.
So we have to split another time, and we have to.
Yes, another level. So we have to do another level of split. Okay, into 2. I could ask you to split it into 4 or whatever. So in that case, you have. We had before for /27, we had 8 different subnets, right? all of them are /27. So now we will take only this network, okay, and make it /28 in that case.
How do you know it's /20?
Huh?
How do you know it's /28?
I'm the network planner. I can divide it into /28. The other 7 subnets are /27 and they are اللي هي زي ما احنا قلنا كده اللي هي if you imagine we have 8 parts. احنا what we are trying to do now is that we are trying to take this part and cut it into 2 halves. Okay? So these other 7 subnets will be /27. Okay? Only this one will be /28. And remember here, once you subdivide any of these parts to /28 or /29, you cannot use it again as /27. Right? So you cannot go back and say, I will use this address, okay, but /27. لا خلاص.
It's 28.
It's 28 خلاص. It's done. So you cannot go back and use it as one part again. Okay? Once you cut the cake, you cannot get it back. Okay?
السؤال اللي كان كوز
128/8.
السؤال
خلاص? So it's easy, yeah? So the first network will be 192.168.5.32, but this one is /28, right? So the first address will be the same. The first range of the first address in the range will be the same, and the last one will be if we put the first three bits will be 0, 0, 1, right? And then you take this bit, you have to set it to 0 in this subnet, and the last address will be to put all the rest to 1. It's easier if you calculate the next subnet address. If you subtract 1, it will be this. So the next subnetwork address, if you set this to 0011, right? 0011 and all zeros, this is a 32, and this is 16. So 32 plus 16 is 48, right? So the second subnet is 192.168.5.48/28. Okay? So the range is 32 to 47. So the first subnetwork will range from 32 to 47, and the second subnetwork will range from 48 all the way to 63. قولي بقى ايه؟ اوكي.
يعني مثلا باخد واحد مع نفسه بحكي لي هي 111 بعدين 0000. قلت له طب صح احنا اول واحد لازم يبلش 000. اذا بما انه احنا فيرست سبنت 000 سكند سبنت 00